Your favorite toy truck nerds are back. Welcome to That Scale RC Show.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to That Scale RC Show for episode 72 and the first one of 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Travis, along with Jay and Adam. And sorry for the break. It wasn't planned, but we're back. We're finally here.
We had a good couple days without power.
Yeah, welcome to 2021, our first episode.
That's right. First episode of the year.
So, and that's it. It'll be one and done. We'll see you next year.
Yeah.
We survived 2020.
Well, it was off to a good start with the power outage, which delayed our recording. So,
God.
It's all right.
Yeah.
We made it, though.
And Scooter Scott's like grilling me over generators and stuff. I don't know what he's on about.
Is he still going?
Yeah, like I haven't checked my phone again, but it's just like, yeah, man. Like, and plus, I'm pretty sure with Adobe and it being cloud-based, I can't do any drawing without internet or electricity. And one without the other doesn't do me any good.
Well, what was funny was we got a handful of listeners that have volunteered their own homes for you to go over to if the power goes out.
Oh, neat.
I'm gonna have to
show up with a U-Haul with all my work stuff in the back of it, and what's up, man? Where's your bathroom at?
Yeah, chill off for the day, and then by the time you make it home, power's on.
Yep. That's the way it always works.
Yeah, because J King RC, Jay can use my house, but I want wraps for everything first.
Well, no, you don't. You don't really mean that.
Well, the problem is you gotta get to the house to make the wraps. So
that's true.
How do you want this to work there, bud?
Oh, so yesterday was the first time that I've actually like left since the power outage and stuff. Oh my God, dude! Like the sides of the roads were so destroyed and everything still with trees and stuff down all over.
Yeah.
Like it was some major happening going on.
You should have seen it like the morning it happened, because I got up to go to work and I was like the whole way there I was just like swerving around debris.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was crazy. The funny thing was I didn't find out that like there was a storm until like after I'd like gotten to work and all that, and power wasn't on everything, because I slept through it besides like a little bit of spurt of rain. And so I woke up and I was just like, dude, what happened?
Dude, our house like sounded like it was gonna freaking blow away. Like the wind was 75 here, 75 miles an hour, and it blew two like big heavy 12-foot long ocean kayaks like off of our deck. Like that's how strong the wind was. I've never seen that happen. It was just crazy storm.
That's crazy.
I'm glad it's over now. It's saying we're supposed to get snow for this weekend, and
I think
that'll
Friday.
We'll have like snow on the ground, maybe 4 inches or so for about 6 hours, and it'll be gone until next year.
I will, like, in all honesty, be super bummed if I wake up Friday morning and it's snowing. Like, it needs to at least wait until the end of day.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have anywhere to be on the weekend, and then that's fine. But I really don't want to commute in that, because, boy, if people couldn't drive up here already, they really can't do it during snow.
Oh, dude.
Oh, my God.
I'm so happy I don't have to drive to that driving that to work every day like we did when we lived in Oregon. Like, dude, you'd be driving down a 4-lane highway and you're just driving along, and here's somebody like crossing all 4 lanes backwards in front of you off into the ditch, and you've just missed them by like 15 feet. And you're like, oh, cool. All right, I survived that. What's next? And it
Well,
was just like it was that way every freaking day to work.
well,
And
plus all the guys that have trucks that are, 4-wheel drive that just think that that's the automatic antidote for snow.
oh,
And
dude,
so then
and
they just
like
get
what
so
was
stupid.
when I snowboarded a lot driving up to Mount Bachelor, like it was just like this running joke because you would always see Subarus in the ditch on the way up to the mountain, and it's all the Subaru owners that think they're just absolutely invisible, oh, I got all-wheel drive, da 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 da, it's an
Yeah.
Outback, and so then, you're going up the mountain and the dude that just passed everybody, doing fucking 70, on packed snow with gravel is off in the ditch, and you're like, yeah, kind of knew that was coming. They're
Yeah.
passing the ski resort buses that take people from town up to the mountain and stuff. I mean, just gnarly.
God.
That was some of the scariest driving, I think, was in wintertime driving up Century Drive to Mount Bachelor.
I believe it.
It was so gnarly. Somebody cut a bus off, and it was a year where there was like a lot of heavy snowfall, and so like the snow piled up on the shoulder of the road was like 10-12 feet tall. Like you're driving and all you see is white out the passenger window, and there's a bus in front of me, and of course somebody's being pissy and impatient and decides they're going to pass the bus, and everybody else at the bus is holding up, and so the bus panic stops. And like, dude, I would have plowed into this dude in front of me so bad. And like, I literally had to take the passenger side front corner of the truck and like push it into the wall of snow on the right hand side to like physically slow the truck down to keep from hitting the dude in front of me. Like it was just,
Christ.
there was always something like that. And you're just like, man, at what point, like somebody's going to kill me going up here, and I'm already paying like $150 for a lift ticket for the day. So forget it.
Nope. No thanks. Yeah. You can't trust people, and that's the end of the day. Like, that's the story at the end of the day. Like,
Oh yeah. Like,
everyone's got something to prove, or they're terrified. They don't know how to handle.
yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, honestly, like people driving and being scared can be just as dangerous. So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's really no win in this situation at all, other than just stay home and avoid people in general.
Yeah.
Best way to beat traffic is just don't go.
Basically. Yeah. Just work at home.
Yep. Make sure you have a generator though, or Scott's gonna give you hell.
Adam, how was your break?
Oh, it was I don't know, not really exciting. I worked. I got a couple parts ordered. Well, I ordered the parts a while ago, but they finally showed up because Shapeways is a little slow. Started working on finally got the body for my AX10 Scorpion. So I got to finish swapping over some wheels, and then that thing will be ready to roll. I painted it up to look just like the SCX 24. And that's really about it. Nothing else really exciting. So, yeah.
All right.
We kind of, I don't know. There's not a lot going on our front too, aside from like just, I don't know. We can't really talk about most of the stuff that we're currently working on. So
Unfortunately.
Like, all right, well, never mind.
I'm waiting on my Cholo flannel to show up.
It should. It went out, well, yesterday, so it'll probably be there tomorrow, I bet. You're either 2 days or 3 days. I forget. I honestly don't remember right now.
Or a month, post office.
Yeah, depending.
Yeah.
Honestly, they've been pretty timely. I ordered a main order on Friday, and it showed up today, and that was with having Monday be a federal holiday, so there was no mail. So
Well, you got better luck than me, but I learned something though about A-Main, which I didn't know until who said it? I think it was Chris Prestwood told me. I didn't know that they had a warehouse out of North Carolina.
yeah, yep.
So sometimes it'll say that it's available. So now I understand what it means by when it says it's available online and not in the store is because it's at their warehouse. So,
Well, they actually have 2 warehouses.
well, yeah, I know that.
Okay.
But but I guess they come from like different ones. So, anyways, because I ordered something because I'm donating some chargers to Operation 11 Charlie because I guess he's got 2 rigs that he needs to give out, but he likes to give them out with like a charger, and nobody has stepped up. So I ordered them.
Oh,
It
nice.
took like 2.5 weeks for those things to show up.
Oh man.
Oh, well, I'll tell you after the show. Remind me to tell you what's going on there.
Okay. Well, anyways, I just was kind of like, I ordered those like the week before Christmas, and they showed up like last week. I was like, what the heck? I mean, I know it was Christmas. I know all the stuff was crazy, but I was like, I ordered some other stuff from like, not even RC related, and it showed up in like 2 days.
Well, actually, I guess I can say it. Like, it's not going to cause any issues or anything. No. So what happened is somebody in their shipping and receiving department got
Had COVID.
Yeah, and so they had to like basically shut down and try and work from home and stuff, and like everybody had to quarantine and make sure they're okay. So that's what happened. So
Gotcha.
there was a period there that slowed up their shipping and receiving and stuff. So
Yeah, I was gonna say it. That's kind of like what's going on with our big warehouse for our electrical supplies. I guess we went there to go pick up some material, and we showed up, and the doors were all shut. We're like, "The heck's going on?" It's like the middle of the week, and it just said, "Oh, they were closed." Whatever. They had a sign posted on the door, and we're like, "All right." Well, the second time we went by, the following day, they had to adjust the dates to that date now. So we're like, what is going on? So I finally went and read the fine print, which you can't read unless you get out of the vehicle. And it said one of our staff members may have come in contact with COVID. So they have to go through safety protocols and this, that, and the other. And they're waiting for tests back and all that stuff. So, yep, it's going around.
we had a guy just be a complete dumbass and flip out, like saying that like the whole COVID thing is an excuse and all this stuff. And it's like, man, regardless of what your personal beliefs are, like it actually is happening and affecting things, like I don't care if you don't believe it or not. That doesn't change like the facts of the situation where, suppliers and stuff had somebody test positive. So they have to, shut down and quarantine, things like that. It's like, that's happening everywhere. Like just because, you watch Fox News and think that it's all fake and this is, some conspiracy, it's doesn't change the facts of what's going on.
I think one of the RC tracks down in Portland got had a bit of an outbreak. I think it had like 3 or 4 people test positive for it.
Not surprised.
No, me neither.
No,
I was gonna say even Fox isn't even that great on reporting that stuff anymore.
yeah.
I'm not gonna go there, but I'm just gonna say all media is the same. So.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you. No,
But-
it's just funny.
You only can listen to Alex Jones now.
No.
Is that the crazy guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that dude's off his rocker, man.
Entertainment show.
Yeah.
He gets so heated.
Well, I think that's part of the persona. It's kind of like
Is that what it is? Is a persona?
Well,
Is
that's
or
what
is
he
just
that's what he told the
high-strung
divorce
weirdo?
lawyers. That's what he told the divorce lawyers.
I was gonna say I think it's a little bit of both because, like I said, I don't really want to go this like direction, but like my dad listens to some talk radio, and there's certain. He tells me all the time. He's like, "Oh, when so and so gets in this rant, I just can't, I can't sit there and listen to it because he just starts screaming." And I was like, you do know that that's like a design. Like he does that. He talks all calm and then he ramps it up right when he gets all to the point, like the meat and potatoes. Then he kind of like calms down again once he's like got his point across, and he continues on with the show. Then he ramps up again. I said, haven't you figured that out by now?
Dude, his face, like he is so animated. Like the guy reminds me of how bad actors are on like WWE and stuff. Like he reminds me of that.
Yeah.
He had some pretty good podcasts with Rogan too. Those were fun to listen to. Yeah.
Does he like come clean and actually like ditch the persona?
Oh
And...
no, it was crazy. Like
wow.
it was a very wild, like I think the second one was like 4 hours.
Oh wow. Because somebody said like Gordon Ramsay, like it's all an act too. He's actually like a super nice guy supposedly. But
I believe that more about him than I do like Alex Jones. Like there's definitely like an entertainment to what Alex does, but like it didn't really come out that it was like a personality thing, or like a entertainment like persona or anything like that until like his wife had filed for divorce and like he had to like fight for the custody of his kids because like one of the things that she was trying to leverage against him was InfoWars.
Listen to this crazy asshole.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when your dad is sitting in your basement going, the 5G is spreading the COVID, then you know, I mean, that makes a pretty strong case to a judge. So
yeah, no, definitely.
you know what I mean? So like, it's just one of those things. But I mean, like, I'll find myself on videos and I like listen to those podcasts just because like I find them entertaining to listen to. I don't like buy a word of it, but like it's just so funny to like try and be in his headspace for a couple hours and try and dissect everything that he's saying, which is a lot. So yeah, which is a lot.
Crazy people just put me off really bad, and I just don't like listening to them. So you know, like it just
my thing with all that is, it's like if there could be some sort of like rational like explanation to why you're saying what you're saying, like if there's like, I guess you could say, facts or evidence supporting what you're saying, then yeah, I'll digest it and kind of come up with my own thoughts. But like when you come up with like some of the craziest off the wall far reach that you're just like, yeah, that's totally some, you know, made up crap.
Yeah it's funny.
So when I was on my leave of absence in Bakersfield, there was a dude there that was my neighbor, and he drags me outside one day, and there was just a lot of contrails and stuff. And you know, because got like LAX down there in Ontario and stuff, so you know there's a lot of air traffic. And he drags me outside and he's like, you smell it, you smell that shit, they're spraying it in the air, like just starts freaking the hell out. Dude, you really think they're like crop dusting us right now with like MK Ultra mind control serum or something? Like, what the hell's the matter with you, dude? He's like, you can smell it in the air. It just, yeah, the crazy conspiracy theorist people just really, I don't know. It, like I said, it really puts me off, and I don't like listening to it at all. But I also just don't like listening to people to begin with.
Well, so it depends. Here's the differentiator is like there are the crazy people like Alex Jones who like are a bit of a lol cow in the sense that like it's funny to listen to them and to the crazy things they're saying, and you don't like really have a lot of investment into what they're saying because you know going in what you're going to get. Then there's a difference between guys like that and then the people who genuinely just like believe that sort of thing and will argue with you about it, about like, you know, oh, how all the school shootings were staged and stuff like that, and they've all got crisis actors and everything else. And because the thing, and like when they talk about like media control and symbolism and all that crazy stuff, like,
oh yeah, yep.
And the thing that gets frustrating about those people is that when you ask them the questions, like you try and like get deeper into what they're like saying. Basically, you're asking them to like, you know, why do you believe this? They can never answer it. They can never give you any, mad. Or they get pissed, or they just deflect and start talking about all sorts of other stuff. Like they never can just answer the question. And that's what makes those people, like I listen to a podcast. I listened to a podcast of like that. One guy had made a YouTube video, and he was like, and there's nothing against like, you know, like Christianity or anything like that, like just real quick, but like some people were like, they were talking about like he has like a really hardcore like really hardcore Christian following, and he was talking like he was picking apart this YouTuber who has this podcast that I listen to every now and again, and he was talking about like how, you know, he always wears white or black to represent the base consciousness, and how how he like, you know, how his videos are part of like a big media plan to like normalize things like porn in the media world, to like, you know, get children all brainwashed and stuff like that. And so like they made this video. This guy makes this video. There's like 3,000 followers, and so that they invite him onto the podcast to like defend himself, and to like, because I mean also too, like they put him up to the guy that he was like pulling apart, and then obviously put a complete 180 on it. But they brought him onto this podcast, and I only made it to like 20 minutes in before I was like actually like pissed off listening to it, because they kept trying to ask him about the things like, all like the, you know, symbolism, how people talk about like, oh, there's triangles and everything and stuff like that. And they kept trying to ask him about that stuff, and like he couldn't answer any of it. And finally I had to turn it off, and I was like, that's the difference. Like those people are infuriating to listen to, but sometimes there's people are just funny, and it's worth the laugh.
It was kind of funny. You know how a lot of our stuff there for a while had like, you know, like a hexagon pattern to it and everything.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was now or where I was, but somebody freaked out telling me that that's satanic imagery, and, you know, because it was like 6-sided or something, it's 666 or whatever, you know. I'm just like, okay. You know, and
I had to count in my head real quick to verify that was a 6-sided shape. I didn't. That's a weird parallel to make.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just like, wow, I did not know that. That is incredible. And I don't remember where it was, but yeah, and like Contrail dude, his other thing was not the Illuminati. It was Freemasons. Talked a lot about Freemasons, and how, you know, like he was just very much into all the secret organizations and stuff like that. And it was super entertaining, but sometimes you were just like, dude, come on, knock it off. Like, especially like drags you outside, like, you can smell that shit in the air. It's
well, they can't keep it to themselves.
Yeah, no,
they gotta tell everybody about it. They gotta share.
Well, no, because they need validation.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, dude, it's happening. You're not crazy.
Can't like anybody be a Freemason
wink,
though?
Wink.
Can't like anybody just sign up to be in the Freemasons?
I know a couple people.
So.
Like I don't get the whole like secret society thing about it, because as far as I mean, I don't know obviously, but as far as I understand, all you have to do is just be like, I'm going to join the Freemasons now.
You can't have a criminal history. What else? There's some like, you have to be I don't know, I can't remember.
Oh, I'm sure there's requirements,
but
like
and stuff.
There's definitely requirements, but it's not like, you know, specifically people who can pull the strings and things like that.
Yeah, no, it was something that was kind of surprising. Like TJ Bell, who's a guitarist / bassist, depending on what day of the week it is, for Escape the Fate, he joined the Freemasons and made like a big deal of it on his social media and everything. Just kind of weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, really, really strange. But yeah, no, so I mean, it was just, you know, all the craziness and everything with secret societies and vibrations, and it was just so far out there that I was just like, dude, I'm sorry, you know, like I get that you're lonely and like you kind of think we're friends because you're next door, but like I don't buy into any of what you're saying here, so don't get mad at me if I don't have the, you know, same outlandish reactions that you do to air traffic flying over us right now. You know, like it really doesn't bother me as much as it seems to bother.
You should have just went along with it and like told them the earth is flat, and too, like,
oh god, that stuff is actually pretty funny.
You should have played along. Well, okay, so real quick, this is before we actually move on to toy trucks. Real quick, I don't know if I ever talked about this on the podcast, but there was a guy who went by the name Mad Mike, who was like he was a flat earther, and he was a pretty pretty popular dude in the flat Earth community, and emphasis on was, and so he launched this like Kickstarter program. I think he launched a Kickstarter, and he was going to build a rocket.
That's right.
To launch it out of his backyard to see for himself that the Earth is flat. Because, in airplanes and stuff like that, it's all manipulation, things like that, and everything that NASA does is doctored. And, so, he does this, and the rocket explodes, and he dies.
Did he die?
Yeah.
Because I remember he bitched about getting shut down once. Like the FAA or somebody's like, "Yo, dude, you can't build and fire a rocket."
I think the first time, I don't know the story well enough to like recite all of it. I'd have to go back and look, but I know his most recent attempt is, obviously he died, and yeah, it blew up. Something happened, but yeah, so we never found out.
Hope it was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's one thing. I guess I could kind of care either way, but yeah, I mean, just one of those things. Like, it's just funny the things that people do. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because I was like,
I didn't realize he died. I remember seeing a picture of that dude like straddling a rocket in his backyard. Like,
yeah,
he just.
He got up to like a certain height. It wasn't very high, and I think something happened and it just blew up. So. Yeah, I mean, this isn't that recent. I think this was actually about a year ago now, but yeah. Anyways, but to cap that off,
moral of the story is the Earth is actually flat. The only reason why there's like a curvature on the horizon is because our eyes are round. If our eyes were flat, it would be flat too, and you could see that it's a flat Earth.
Well, watch. We'll get an inbox message after this. Someone's like, "Hey, it actually is flat, man."
Signed, Mr. So-and-so of the Freemasons.
But yeah, toy trucks. Yeah, I don't know if there was anything like real topic wise we wanted to get into tonight because it's been a little bit slow. I
haven't been checking anything like as far as like news goes.
I was on Live RC when last week when I recorded Track Walk. That's the last time I was on there, and I've been on a Facebook hiatus pretty much, so I haven't been seeing anything new.
377 new drag chassis that you can buy. That's new. They're all carbon fiber. Let's see what else.
This on a little more serious note, I forget. Was the Rift out the last time we did a show, or was it not?
No,
it wasn't.
So I guess the Rift is actually news. So
the Rift is actually news, and the thing that was actually kind of like I thought was pretty ironic was I put up that post about seeing a scale Dana 60 and a 14 bolt because it's a pretty common axle configuration in anybody who builds a off-road rig in the real world. 60s are super strong front driving axle, and 14 bolts are cheap and super strong for a rear axle. So I was just like, I'm surprised we haven't seen any more scale, models of that. And then the Rift came out and they had a 14 bolt. It just looks a little funky, but it's a 14 bolt. And I think, what's crazy is I don't think everybody kind of understands why there's 14 bolts in the front of the Rift. If you actually go and follow the roots of where the rock bouncing started, they used to use 60s, and the 60s would break. So they were like, we need to come up with something that's stronger. So they started making their own homebrewed 14 bolt front axle, so they would have stronger parts so that would handle all the abuse they were doing. So it was kind of interesting to see them put the 14 bolt up front as well. But I just don't think there's a lot of people that realize that.
It's kind of a cool detail to add to them, just that little extra bit.
Well, I think it's actually a little crazy that they went all out. They got scale rotors,
Oh wait,
scale.
that thing has rotors too?
Yeah.
That's rad.
Yeah, it's got scale rotors, and the rotors actually have the caliper. No, so the caliper sits there, and the rotor actually spins between the brake caliper.
Weird. That's really
It's
cool.
it's pretty scale. I mean, it's a nice looking truck. The thing I'm a little confused about, but I think I'll probably answer my own question, is it sounds like it's already brushless when you get it.
Yeah, I think it has that Spectrum brushless system that comes
Yeah.
in the Baja Ray.
Oh, okay.
I do believe, which if that's the case, that thing is a rocket ship, dude. So chances are that Rift is going to be really, really quick.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it looks cool. Definitely an interesting rig. My only thing with the Rift is, and I truly like say this, with I don't know, like the utmost respect for everything that Axial does. I just wonder if it's going to be like another SMT10. It's going to be really cool. It's going to have a really like, is it going to be its own like little niche, and it's going to be like its own little section, and it'll never really kind of like grow? Or are we going to start seeing something new? Like, are we going to see other people wanting to come out with something similar, you know? Like, is rock bouncing going to become a thing, or is it just kind of be like its own little entity?
It's the thing that I think is kind of that it has working against it is that it's just not the terrain for something like that to be fun isn't super easily accessible for people. Like there's way more places with like rocks and stuff and trails that you can run a scalar on and stuff, but there's not many rocky, slimy, muddy hills and stuff to like do some scale rock bouncing and really have fun with, because you're going to kind of be tearing up the terrain and everything else, and that really limits where you're able to go drive the thing. So I don't know. I hope that it takes off and is big and is a success, because I think it's cool, and I absolutely would like to, I mean, not just get one because of work and stuff, with templing it for, the panels for wraps, but like I really do think it's kind of a cool rig and be neat to like check out in person and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely looks cool.
The front axle design's sick. The way they have the
Yeah.
servo set in it, that's pretty rad.
I do like the tilt back. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So kind of keeps it out of harm's way. You still get your full, steering. So yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
Metal shock bodies, metal caps.
Yep. And they said that they think they finally figured out a way to keep your shocks from leaking, but we'll see.
Interesting. I know it's got the same bumpers, those little orange rubber bumpers at the bottom of the shock shaft. Those are the same exact ones that come on the Baja Ray and the Rock Ray.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's probably some low C shock technology going on there, and if that's the case, yeah, they probably won't leak if they're low C stuff, because that's not normally an issue. I mean, I had one of their short courses that I raced for years. It was like the 10 SCTE, and I'd never had any kind of issues with shocks leaking or anything. Their stuff's always been pretty solid. Same with Associated.
And then also their the retail is $499.
Nice. You see that they did double shear upper shock mounts?
Yes. And then the other thing that's pretty cool about it too is, at first when I saw these tires and it said Super Swamper Boggers, TSL Bogger, I'm like, those aren't a bogger. But when you stare at it long enough, you realize it's a bogger that looks like somebody had did like their own homebrew, like custom cut on it. Like,
right.
So like at first it threw me for a loop, because I'm like, why would you say it's a TSL bogger when it's not? And then I stared at it a little bit longer, and it finally made sense.
Yeah, the big side lugs, it looks like they just took like a chunk out of the center of each big side lug that stretches from the sidewall across to the middle.
But yep, I mean, otherwise, like I said, it's pretty cool. I'd love to get my hands on one just to have fun, kind of like a basher. It's definitely answers people that are into like the basher. So, and then you
It'll
are
speak to
right.
them.
It's the Spectrum 2200 kV brushless motor with their Spectrum Firma 130 amp smart ESC. So is that the ESC and receiver in one, or no?
I don't know. Um,
Yeah, see right here.
oh, you know
Uh,
what? Baja
it's in-
Ray has a 3800 kV.
So they included Spectrum DX3 radio, has DSMR technology for superior range, blah, 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 blah. It's also fully compatible with the smart telemetry potential of the vehicle's installed Spectrum Firma 130 amp smart ESC. So yeah, so it sounds like the ESC and receiver are all one.
Crazy. You know, Spectrum has a servo that has a receiver built into it too. I saw one day.
Really?
Yeah, just crazy stuff. I wonder how all that's like, especially with like Hobbywing and stuff, like how that's gonna work out for him, because it, like, I remember when Orion tried it and it just didn't catch on, and then it kind of just disappeared. No one thought about it for a few years, and then now all of a sudden it's back. The whole ESC motor combo.
I think it didn't really convince anybody in the racing world that it was a good move for a variety of reasons, besides people not really wanting to break status quo. I do see a lot of people, I haven't seen like a lot of builds with them, but I do see the Fusion get dropped a lot in comments and stuff like that, talking about, getting one. So, I mean, I assume people are happy with it.
Well, I know the Orion one wasn't censored, and supposedly the Hobbywing one is actually censored.
Yeah.
Which that's going to make everybody a lot more happy anyways.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was like to drive something that was sensorless, like that Baja Ray. When I drove it for the first time, it's just just chattering, cogging so bad. And I was like, man, it's been a while since I've heard that sound.
Right. Now, that Rift is pretty cool. Excited to see them.
It's a brave release, I think.
No, it is.
Oh,
it
yeah.
really is.
No, it definitely is. So
They're
but
damn
it's
cool on that one.
But yeah, back to what I was saying. I just thought it was pretty ironic that we put that post out and then this got released and it had some of the stuff we were talking about. So, but yeah, it's like I said, cool rig. Seems to come with a lot of goodies right out of the box. So
looks like it's got provisions for some sort of sway bar too in the back. I noticed, because
yes,
in the running video, like, holy torque twist, Jesus.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to hear anybody on the element groups complain about torque twist after seeing the video of this thing run.
Well,
like, it's so bad.
Well, the funny thing is historically all of Axial's 2.2 rigs have horrible torque twist.
Yeah, I mean,
The OG Wraith, right out of the box, you used to punch it, the thing would dip to the one side.
yeah, it's crazy the way that works with these things.
So, but yeah, no, it's super cool. But other than that, I don't really think there was any really big releases.
No, there was the Losi monster truck.
Yep.
That's out. You can buy the roller now. I see it at A Main. Looks like yet another Spectrum DX5 Rugged in a different color from the 7 other colors, I guess, or something they got going on now.
I thought they only had the orange was the only.
They had orange and green, and then the one I'm seeing right now is silver.
Oh, it's about time they added a normal color. Maybe I'll end up getting one. Because I just could not. I'm sorry, I just could not fathom getting a bright orange remote.
Your Nerf DX5.
It's so you don't get shot by hunters when you're out scaling.
Yeah.
Safety orange radio.
Oh, was there any other news besides the Rift?
Not really. I'm on A-Main looking at the just arrived, and it's a lot of Hobbywing motors and ESCs.
Yeah, I didn't check the coming soon yet, which probably I'll have the Rift. Oh, there's that RC 4-wheel drive cross country, just a plastic China JK type body on a Trailfinder or Gillian chassis. I can't really tell. What is the chassis? No, it looks. I don't know. No, it looks different. The motor's facing backwards too. It's got a weird trans. No, maybe it is a different platform now. I don't know. The whatever that weird powder blue color, like it just put me off so bad that I didn't even want to look at the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, LMT, that's what it is. Wait, those are not cheap, are they, for the RTR? $599.
Yep. The only thing I think is pretty cool is they actually kind of they broke away from the iconic Gravedigger to an extent. I mean, they still have the Gravedigger, but they also went with Son of a Digger, which was cool because they still kind of kept it in the iconic family, but they picked another team that's not like, the first thing you think of when you think of Monster Jam.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that thing does look really good. Like the Son of a Digger looks cool.
If you maybe was it the Kid or was it the Ready to Run? Hemi Storm did an unboxing and the thing's massive.
Yeah, Ty just got one in too. He said it's pretty good size. Like it's a little bit bigger than the SMT10.
Yeah, that's what I've seen.
I thought the SMT10 was cool.
It was. I mean, I still have both of mine.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of neat. Like if I had just disposable income and just was on a mad building spree, I'd probably try building another monster truck and get something going out at Die Hard for all the monster truck owners. But as it stands right now, I'm already so overextended with time. We do have a cool thing coming up, though, that we've been talking about for an event that I don't know if you followed any of that, Adam, but the Havoc style racing. We're going to try and do an event similar to that.
I believe I saw a post about that.
Yeah, so that's something cool that we've been looking into doing. I don't know. What else? Would you get into questions then?
Probably get into questions. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything really going on. I didn't notice at first that the Rift is also available in orange, which I thought was kind of cool. I was looking at that and I think I kind of like the orange one better than the traditional black. I just kind of different.
I liked it too. The problem is that when you get something like that to do product shots and everything, like the black's kind of the one to get.
Oh no, totally.
Which is a better, like from an enthusiast standpoint, that's a huge bummer because I really like the orange one. Because I one of the things that I always thought was kind of neat looking about Rock Bouncers is like super bright powder coated chassis, that are just really elaborate and stuff like that. So like as soon as I saw the orange one, I was like, okay, that looks way more like something you would typically see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can go and get into questions. So the first one is from Alex Sims. He says, what are some scale details that work on paper but are less desirable once you have them? For example, I had turn signals on my crawler, but using a signal for every single turn while going through the wilderness looks silly as hell. Seems like adding a sound kit or smoking exhaust have similar issues where the novelty factor wears off quickly. Sound kit does seem neat, though.
It's neat, but after having one, you're pretty much sick of it after 45 seconds of runtime.
Yeah.
Like it just ends up being a distraction. So it's like, yeah, okay.
That's like, I'll never forget. Todd Norton put one in one of his trucks and we're on the trail. And what's funny is like, we used to go to these events and there was a lot of bottlenecking. So like if you stopped and you stopped running, the thing would do like an idle and then eventually shut off and this will go quiet. Then as soon as you had to nudge forward for a second, you're like, oh, come on. Like I was at one point, we were like, we all stopped and turned around. We're like, dude, unplug that thing. We were so tired of hearing that.
Yeah, I felt that just by myself, not around anyone. I was like, okay, I'm over this already. They're cool, they have their place.
I mean, I could totally see what he means about like the turn signal. I never, that stuff never really appealed to me because it's the exact like statement that he's making. You're supposed to be on the trail. Who uses their turn signal when they're turning right down the trail? Nobody, like that just doesn't happen. Like I understand that, yeah, it's cool, whatever. but it just doesn't, it doesn't serve a purpose. Even the light kits where like your headlights get dimmer when you drive, and then when you stop they get brighter, and or the taillights I know do the same thing or something along those lines. That's passable, because you do see a lot of people riding brakes, and you will see your brakes working when you're off-road. What else is a good idea on paper but doesn't work in the real world? I don't know. I think he kind of covered a lot of them,
A lot
because
of exterior scale details. I would say that avoid spending a lot of money on exterior scale details because they just usually end up in your pocket.
Yeah.
that is true. I remember when I first wanted to put mirrors on one of my Chevy builds, and I got all excited. I spent all this time. I converted these Tamiya Ford ones to look like Chevy mirrors. I, added some material to them, made them more square instead of the round posts. And first trip out, knocked them off. The glue held, and the base of the mirror was still there, but the end of the mirror was gone. I was like, I went through all that for this, and then that's when I was like, all right, I'm over it.
It's rough, dude. Like mirrors are one of those things too that after you've put them on a couple rigs, if you build something that doesn't have mirrors, it just doesn't look right, and it's really frustrating because that's always like one of the first things that break off.
Honestly, that was going to be my answer, was mirrors. Like, yeah, it's not like on paper, it's not even that crazy of a detail, but damn, I hate picking them up.
Yeah, it's like I noticed with like the trail runner and stuff, like I basically just Associated uses pins with like a little press fit washer on the backside rather than like a screw like what Axial uses. And so the short version of the story is the mirrors fall off a lot. So and that's just on the trail runner. It's a little different setup than the other ones, but I ended up like just dipping the whole end of it in shoe goo and just sticking it onto the side of the car and then putting things on the backside because otherwise it's they come off and then you're buying this whole giant parts tree for like $15 just to get it one mirror. And it's
I was actually pretty impressed with, I do got to say, the SCX-10 2 mirrors, always you'd almost tear them off or end up tearing the body, especially on like the 2017 JK, because the body was so thin that you get the mirror hung up, it would just tear the chunk off. The 10-3 mirrors are actually interesting. It's only got the one, I believe it's a screw that holds it in there. I could be wrong. It could be a body pin similar to what you're talking about with the Element, but the upper part is just a dimple that goes in the body. So if it actually does get hung up and like it flexes, it'll actually like spin and pivot instead of like staying fixed. And then you just got to like twist it until it pops back into the, little dimple that holds it in the upright position. So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, the mirrors, I'm always worried. Like you can always see it. It's almost like watching the people who wheel their real rigs out there. Like you see them and they're getting real close to the rock and they're watching their mirror, and as soon as it starts like scraping and then it just kind of just busts and explodes. It's kind of like the same thing with the cars.
Yeah, the XJ body actually had some decent mirrors though.
Yes,
I've used those on a lot of Toyota, like Proline Toyota bodies, but those actually stayed on really well and they weren't super fragile or anything. But
exactly.
I think mirrors, like you said, Trav, are just kind of one of those things that, yeah, they're cool, but they're just like far from practical to try and drive with.
Yeah, and it's really frustrating because, like you said, it does look weird when you don't have them. Like, especially if it's something you're like accustomed to doing. Yeah. Next question was from Ryan Crowley. He said, he had one for each of us. He said, Jay, break down your pinching process on those rad Lexan bodies, brother.
Oh boy.
We'll start off with that one.
I don't have it perfected because I'm still getting like a weird like buckle in the kind of like, I don't know what you would call it for lack of a better term, like armpit area, or like, where the two cuts come together, basically, like the slice of the pizza that you're taking out of the hood, so like when you make your cut, you cut the hood to the shape that you want, you've trimmed your fenders flat, and then you go to pull the fenders in towards the grill. I'm still getting like a weird little buckle. And since I run wraps, like I can cheat on some stuff. So like I just full on took like a file and just filed that buckle, that nub little mound that it makes. I filed that down some and then wrapped it, and it was fine. But no, like when you're pinching stuff like that, with Lexan, I just layer it with shoe goo and drywall tape like you would fiberglass, cloth, and resin, like same principle. And I usually do a layer of shoe goo, one piece of tape, another layer of shoe goo, another piece of tape, another layer of shoe goo, and I call it good. Like I've never had anything come apart just with 2 layers like that.
Man, you put way more effort into that than I do. I should show you. Well, because what I did with because I've only pinched one Lexan body, and that was the Blazer body that I skinned my Wraith with. And what I did was, once I knew where I wanted it to be, I put shoe goo there. I left enough material underneath, left shoe goo there. Then I kind of just clamped it together while it was drying. Then the next day, I just add a little more shoe goo at the seam on the bottom side and called it a day. And that thing's never come apart.
It's probably a lot lighter than what I did.
So, I mean, I've done what you're talking about to repair stuff, but I usually only put like shoe goo in one layer of, that the drywall mesh.
Yeah. Well, in my defense, I only wanted to do it once and then never have to touch the thing ever again. And so that's why I probably kind of went like a little bit overkill on it, but I don't know. I mean, the one thing that made it actually easy, and this is actually like a huge detail that I completely didn't mention, is I used a lot of duct tape on the outside of it to make sure that thing didn't move whatsoever. Like that body had like a cast made out of duct tape on it, like holding it together while I did all this so that it didn't move. Because like I said, I only wanted to do it one time and then never have to deal with it ever again in my life. So that's why it ended up the way it did. I'm not a patient builder. I'm not like I'm not a patient person with doing any of this stuff. Like for as detail oriented as some of the stuff that I do is, like I just don't like doing it. I don't like stuff that takes a lot of time because there's always other stuff to be doing.
Well, what's funny is I've actually started developing the whole patient thing only because due to my work schedule, because now that like I basically work from 7:30 to 3:30 every day. And then from 3:30 till like dinner time, it's either grab material, charge batteries, whatever you need to do for, the next day. So it's like the perfect timing while all that stuff's happening. I could like do one little thing. Like, it's like, oh, okay, I need to swap some tires over. And then you just do it. And you're like, all right, I got one thing done. It wasn't like too like crazy, but you know that you accomplished something and you can move on. The days where I used to spend like, I get up and be like, all right, I got to build something. I'm going to spend 8 hours building something. I can't do it anymore. I just can't physically do it anymore.
I mean, I don't know, like part of it is because I have arthritis in my hands really bad, and like my fingers hurt really, really bad all the time now, especially like where my thumbs are, like the joints and stuff that are there, like especially like the knuckle that's like right next to your wrist bone or your thumb. Like there's a lot of pain that's there. So like I'm using scissors all day, cutting stuff out of sheets and everything, with vinyl for work and stuff, and like working on stuff and like trying to do like little scale details and everything is just, it's getting so much harder right now. And it's just so time consuming that it's like, I don't know. I'm just not patient. Like I don't like building kits anyway. It's like building kits sucks, but it's like I don't know. I mean, even projects lately, like I just have, there's a lot that I want to do, and I'm just having a lot of trouble, like being patient enough to sit down and finish it because,
Well, are you ready for this one? Did I even tell you about my well, I guess I don't know if I should double back to this and we get through the questions first, or like piggyback off of your patient building talk.
oh, I don't care.
Just let it rip, Tater Chip.
All right. So basically, remember the rig I showed you with the cheetah print seat?
Yeah.
Okay, so I nicknamed that one the beater because it was my first hard body build. I heated up the plastic. I rolled like tools into the door to look like, he's been going through rocks and it got pinched and, scraped and all this, that, and the other. And, it was a fun build. Well, looking back on it now, like a lot of people do, they build off of like, the SCX 10 2 or 3 or the Element Enduro. And if you think about it, all those rigs are linked. And you're putting these you're supposed to be putting these older like K series pickup trucks, which I'm not saying some of them haven't been converted to a 4-link front and rear, but the majority of them are still leaf sprung. So I was like, I'd really like to build another hard body like Chevy truck with leaf springs, but I still want to attempt to make it work halfway decent.
Yeah.
So that's my challenge that I'm up to. It was funny because I was on the phone with Ryan Crowley one night and I told him about all this, and he said, wow, you're going to have a lot of decisions to make because having it look scale, having it work decently, and being a hard body on leaf springs, that's he goes, that's a lot to get to work and mesh together.
You may be behind the 8 ball on this.
But I'm gonna try. I just, like I said, I'm just gonna see where it goes. But I've been starting to accumulate parts for it. Like I already got a lot of the leaf. Well, and that was the other thing too that was a little like disheartening was I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this off of an RC 4-wheel drive SCX 10 2 leaf spring conversion kit. That's discontinued already.
Dude, it's not even been a year.
Discontinued.
How?
I don't know.
I don't like it when stuff gets discontinued. That bugs me.
Makes you
So,
wonder if
I
sales were
get
really
it,
that
but at
bad.
the same time, everybody discontinues the stuff that I want.
Well, so like I just was like, well, now that kind of sucks because originally like I was like that kind of took all the guesswork out of everything. Like I was kind of had a foundation to start with. Now I'm kind of like inventing my own kit. So basically I found a guy on Shapeways who sells a lot of leaf spring conversion stuff. Like I've actually been eyeballing a lot of it for a long time because before the RC 4-wheel drive kit came out, I was kind of looking that direction because I said I don't know any other way that I'm going to be able to make this work without that. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger, got a lot of the chassis mounted parts, and I mind you, the chassis mounted parts are 3D printed, so we'll see how well those hold up to working. But everything else, like all your shackles you use, are going to be like RC 4-wheel drive, metal shackles. So those will be, a little more robust. And the cool part was the actual leaf spring, I guess you could say perches or mounts that go to the axle. They only offer them in 3D printed metal. So I thought that was pretty cool because it gives you some downward weight because everything that I've kind of like all the research I've compelled on leaf sprung rigs, low weight seems to really help them shine because it allows the axle to want to actually move instead of just being one stiff thing going, straight everywhere.
Did you look at any of the JEC racing stuff? Because he has a lot of stuff for leaf springs.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I just like I said, I saw this and I just kind of was like, all right, I'm gonna give it a shot.
It just spoke to you. You knew that's what you wanted.
Sort of. I wouldn't say it spoke to me, but it was something that I followed for a while. There was something with the JEC. I forget what it was that I wasn't fond of. I'd have to go pull them up again and look at it. But I I think at the time it was something about, maybe was it a lot of it was brass.
Yeah, he does offer a lot of that in brass, but I don't know if he still does, but for a while there, I did see him have some aluminum, not leaf perches, but basically, like the mount that goes on the axle.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's the thing. If I'm not mistaken, I think I don't know if he actually makes the leaf spring parts for the um for the chassis part. I do know he makes the leaf mounts for the axle, but I don't know if he actually makes the parts for the chassis.
I think he only does the axle, if I remember.
See, that was part of the reason why I was like, oh, I'll just get everything from one spot.
That RC 4-wheel drive kit would have been nice because honestly, like when I tried doing leafs on the Ram Charger, that was not like an easy thing to figure out necessarily. Like there's definitely way more thought that goes into that than just throwing some links on something, some shocks, and being good to go.
Yeah, see, and that's what I'm saying. So like, it would have taken a lot of the guesswork out, but hey, it is what it is. So, but yeah, no, I'm on his thing right now. Yeah, he doesn't have, so far I've made it all the way to page 9. He only has the axle. But the crazy thing is he comes up with leaf. See, this is the thing, and I'm not knocking anybody. Like, like if you like it and you think it's, there's going to be a market for it, that's cool. But like the stuff that like kind of like throws me off is the fact that like he makes a set of leaf spring axle mounts for the Vanquish Rock Jock Curries. When are you going to see Rock Jock Curries under a leaf sprung rig?
Yeah, you never would.
So it's like, especially the Portal ones too. He's got ones for the Portal ones, and it's like, I mean, I get it. It's cool, but I just don't see there being scale-wise.
It's like the dudes that are just putting 3D printed motors in the back of like everything, like even the bomber, like just regardless of the fact that the bomber is, engines up front in the real one, they're just throwing engines in the back of everything out there. Like I've even seen it for the Gatekeeper. It's like, you guys just don't follow motorsports, do you? Like you just, there's a lot. I mean, that's cool, be inventive and use your imagination and stuff, but it's like, you can do all that. Like, don't expect people to think it's like super scale or anything, because it's just not something you see in real life. But whatever. I mean, to each their own. You can do whatever you feel like, obviously. But I mean, it's like you're definitely kind of straying away from realism at some point when you start doing some of this stuff.
Yeah. So yep. So in a nutshell, that's my goal. And instead of using the clod body this time, because that's part of the reason why I don't run that truck that often anymore, is because the clod body is like closer to 1/12 scale. So I think I'm going to do the RC 4-wheel drive Blazer, and then I'm going to get the pickup truck conversion for it.
Nice. That'll be cool.
So yeah, so it'll be another long, slow, drawn out build, but I'm trying to commit because I've been building too many Jeeps. So I need to get back to building some bow ties.
I don't know what happened, but we've been just like on this Toyota kick this last year. It's like, dude, I need to do something other than a Toyota. Like I need to do a Jeep or something at some point.
Well, the funny thing is, like, everything I've been doing is a Jeep. It's like I switched over from the Cherokee to the black and gold Jeep body just because I wanted to replicate something I saw online, which was cool. Then the SCX-10-3 came out, and I obviously kept that at the JL because that's the body that came with. And it's like, all right, there's 2 Jeeps, and then I'm almost done with the hard body JK, and I'm like, what's with all the Jeeps? Why am I doing only Jeeps now? So I said, I got to do something else. And that's when like I said, it gave me the incentive to want to make something work. So I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see where it goes. The cool thing I got to say, though, about the front leaf spring hangers that I got off of Shapeways is he offers them in like multiple styles. And the style I went with is actually also a servo mount. because I'm contemplating and throwing in, because I have one laying around, an RC four-wheel drive, the or no, not RC four-wheel drive, drawing a blank now, the SSD scale transmission.
Oh, that'll be cool.
So, and if you actually read SSD's statement about that going into your SCX10, you need a mount that turns your servo horizontal between the frame rails in order to clear.
Right. So you can go with one of those.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. So this guy's leaf spring mount,
he's already done it.
he's already got the ears are inside, which, in also my opinion, adds a little more, girth to that print. So it's not going to be super fragile. I don't think it's going to be like a super weak point.
Right. Because then your servo's actually like a structural piece at that point.
Exactly. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, I think that should be really good. That'll be cool.
But anywho.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got some build stuff planned, but I don't know. Work's just been such to where I haven't really been able to do a whole lot.
I hear.
Yeah.
Sometime soon. I don't know. I've got a couple extra cross scout looking bodies that I used on our scout, and I was making some scout stripes for my friend Jared that lives over here, kind of like next town over, and started looking at different scouts, on Google and everything. And man, there was a couple colors that were so rad. Like there was a gold one that had black rally stripes that looked super, super good. Then there was a gloss white one with a lot of flat black striping, and there was just so many rad ones. And I just kind of got scout fever all over again, because he's building a VS 410. And so we were both kind of discussing our scout plans, since we're kind of had it both on the brain at the same time.
Sweet.
That's cool.
Everybody likes Trav's Bronco way more than the Scout, though. Like the Bronco gets way more love on social media than the Scout does, and I'm not sure why that is.
It's clean.
Yeah, but I feel like both of them are I don't know if it's because I just don't post the Scout very often.
Yeah, I think that's why.
It's kind of like the hidden car in our fleet.
The Bronco got a lot of postings, a lot of exposure.
Bronco photographs really well too. I noticed the Scout is a little more difficult to get it to look right. I actually have to do some editing to make it look super, super nice. We got lucky that when we went on our camping trip and did the ones in the riverbed, those were the best pictures I've ever taken of anything.
You got some great stuff. I'm itching to make a video again really bad.
I know. I really want to, because I got the 90s rig to do some video of. We got the moon buggy we need to get video of.
I think we need to plan a day soon then. Or
yeah.
something.
Trail Runner, the cement gray Trail Runner. We have absolutely no running pictures or video of that thing.
Yeah, you're right.
Static shots. So we need, it sounds like we kind of need a day to build up our social media reserves so that we've got stuff to post for the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, yeah, because we need to go shoot it, and then I need to spend a couple weeks editing all of it, and then get it all ready to go. Yeah.
Or hopefully get enough to where you can, edit little clips together, for, to have stuff for the next couple weeks.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's time to get going on one of those. Sounds good.
It's weird that we I don't understand. I've heard various things from different people as far as the length of what videos need to be, but man, we've had really good luck with very, very short clips versus 3-minute long, well-produced stuff. Really strange.
Well, I mean, so there's a lot of reasons for that, because you can't short passing stuff can grab somebody just real quick who's scrolling through. If it takes a couple minutes, not everybody wants to stop what they're doing and watch it. And then if you don't have already a consistent big YouTube following, they're not gonna like come look for your new video or anything like that, and your engagement's kind of low. Like YouTube's really hard to get down, and so like that's kind of just one of the things that like we still have to build up that we haven't really been doing is like in theory with the stuff that we do, we should have a pretty rad YouTube channel, but it just takes so much work.
Yeah,
And
that's the hard part. It's like didn't focus enough on Facebook. So then we start focusing on Facebook and then wasn't paying attention to
the
Instagram.
problem,
Well,
the problem is, so here's the big problem. The problem is I don't have anywhere for me to go here.
right.
I don't have any local crawling spots to get good video at, and that's my problem. Like I could totally go, at least in the spring or summer or wherever. Like I could honestly go shoot a video and spend an hour filming or something somewhere after work, like at any given point, but I've got nowhere within an hour near me. Like I either have to go all the way up to Anacortes, which is like an hour and a half from me, or I've got to go east, hope I can find, maybe I can find something over in along like Highway 9 or something like that. Like that's my problem. And that's one of the things that's really like put a stop to that is like, I would love to be like still making content, like making videos and stuff like that and continuing that. But like, I mean, I have to essentially plan a whole day to go find something at this point because otherwise like I've got nowhere I can go. And also too, like, I'm not even that really excited about going to a place like Cap Sandy because I feel like we've gone there so much that there's only so much more content I can get.
Yeah, that's why the next place I'm gonna go is either gonna be Deception Pass or Erie.
I've seen,
Probably Deception Pass.
Well, and I've never shot either of those, so that's like that. Those are the places that we need to go.
I like
I'm sick
Deception
of
Pass
Cap.
because it's really private. Like you're kind of just back in there. There's not a lot of foot traffic or anything. You don't look like an idiot, if you're laying on the ground trying to get a shot. So that's probably where I'm gonna go, just because I don't want to be, like around people or have somebody's like leg in the video or shot or and that's why like. We've had some friends that are like, hey, how come you didn't invite me or anything? It's like, well, honestly, dude, like trying to get out and get some good photos and stuff, like it's a pain in the ass to do with other people unless they're working on something with you because you're always in the shot, like your rig is, or like I've got this great shot or, and it's got you leaning down fixing something with your butt crack hanging out, like there's just always something going on. So it's like, when you're doing stuff for work, it's way better to go by yourself and like go on a weekday so that there's nobody around. And I mean, like we finally had a little bit of decent weather here, and I mean, like every day since like the middle of last week I've been like, okay, you know what, today I'm gonna go and go spend the first half of the day getting like some content and some photos and stuff, and I keep saying it and it just never happens.
Well, I mean, it's work. And I think that people kind of don't get that sometimes. Like, I mean, we've said this before, but like, it really doesn't matter the type of work we do or the industry or anything like that. Like, at the end of the day, it's still work. And so we need to do things for work. And
yeah.
So if I need to go shoot, I like if I didn't invite you, it's nothing personal. It's I'm working. Like I'm not going there to have fun and have a good time. Like I need to get something done.
Facebook and somebody wants to like shoot the shit and talk, and it's like they'll send me a message on Messenger and then like question mark something, because I haven't replied. And it's like man, like just because I'm on Facebook doesn't mean I'm trying to be like social or anything. I'm just trying, I'm addressing a question or a comment or something like that for work. And like there's days that I'll spend 2 or 3 hours throughout the day just on and off of Facebook answering questions and just doing the things that I need to do on there, because it's something that's proven that we need to be present and active on that social media platform, because that's where a lot of our business is getting driven from. And so yeah, there's some stuff that some people are going to argue isn't work, but at the same time it's like it's still like a task that needs to be accomplished for work. And like there was a guy not too long ago that was like, what's going on, I got an email from you and you were just really, really short. And it's like man, like
number one, that was probably me, sorry. But
yeah, I mean, it's just No, I mean, it was me, but here's the thing. It's like, when you're Facebook friends, you're not necessarily real life friends. Like, you might BS a little bit on Facebook and stuff, but like when it's an email and you're asking about, like, something you want to have done for work and stuff like that, it's like, you sounded really cold or this or that. And it's like, I don't have the time or like the energy within myself necessarily even to have this like really personal interaction with every single person, because it's like, the last time I checked, like on our Shopify, like we have like 40 open orders. It's like, no, dude, like I'm emailing you, like, this is what's up. I need this from you, whatever, or take a look at this. If it looks okay, I'm going to print it, or, if I'm answering a question, I'll be like, we don't currently do this. And then on to the next thing. It's like, it's not something that's personal. It's the fact that it's like, no, this is like my job, and there's 40 of you needing something from me right now. And I can't have this like buddy interaction all the time and be bros and friends and chat. It doesn't fit into my schedule.
Yeah.
And I can't do that with everybody either, because it's like, I'm not like an overly friendly person to begin with. And so I don't like small talk. I don't want to hear about your story of like going to the dunes with your monster truck and it did this big wheelie, or you crashed something the other day and it was so crazy. And it's like, I don't care. Like I have so much other stuff that needs to be done, that it's like, you can't expect that you're going to get that from me just because we're like Facebook friends or something. Like, I've never met you. You can't, it's just impossible for somebody to like give that much of themselves to all of these different people that are demanding something from you. And the whole like buddy friend thing is really, really hard to do when you've got like a lot of people to focus on, customers that you've got to interact with and give attention to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So I don't know. It's hard. People don't understand the job. They think that it's all playing and not any serious thought behind it, or planning, or money, or anything like that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people never will, though. And that's, I guess, kind of the thing. We got sidetracked off questions a little bit. But
sorry.
no, it's all right. Ryan had another one. This one was for me. He said, Travis, how is that new rig of yours? I don't know what you're talking about, actually, because I don't have a new rig. I just have the Bronco and I have the Power Wagon and that's it.
Yeah, Gatekeeper, I haven't even built for you yet.
Yes, I mean, like, yeah, that's all. Nothing new. Nothing new. Unless I said something at some point that gave that alluded to me having one, but
Well,
no, I
not
don't have
long
anything
ago,
new.
I had talked about giving you the Bronco, and so maybe that's what he might be referring to.
I feel like that was, maybe so. Yeah, I guess we didn't make it that public.
He may not realize how long ago that was that I actually had done that.
Yeah, I've had the Bronco since like July or August.
Yeah.
Adam, the Rift, is it the way? Those axles, though.
Huh?
Well, I think I already answered this when we talked about it earlier. I think he's talking about, there is something that's a little off about, they are a 14 bolt, but it's a little off. Like, it's something just looks a little off about it. So, and also the fact that they are an AR60 width, they're not an SCX10 width. I've had a conversation with Ryan about that, finding an SCX10, 14 bolt would be cool, but yeah.
And then he says, killing it like no other on this show. Thanks, guys. Moving on, we've got Chris Trudeau. He says, links bent versus straight. I've seen people run them bent all around. What's the deal? Are these better in comp situations versus regular trail driving? And then he goes on to list some combos. He says, bent front, straight rear, straight front, bent rear, bent driver side, straight on the passenger side. Kidding. Does the type of terrain matter, like climbing with lots of like breakover versus just trailing? And then he has a separate question after, I'll ask in a minute. So yeah, I mean, this is something actually I think that Dad and I were talking not that long ago about.
Oh yeah, because some people are putting the bent leaks on the top.
Yeah, putting the bent leaks on the uppers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I get it. Like the element kit doesn't come with instructions, so like I understand if they don't know where the links go.
Yeah, I'll put my hand up. I struggled pretty hard with the bent links, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like driving with bent links. They work really good. I don't like the fact that they don't look scale, but I don't know. They work great and they do give you a lot of extra clearance and you've got more contact patch with the tire and everything because of your breakover. So,
Well, that's not necessarily true about the scale. There are a handful of like really well built rigs out there in the 1-to-1 world that have bent links.
weird.
Yeah. So it's not unheard of. I mean, it's more common to see the straight, links, but it's not unheard of to see bent ones.
Huh, crazy. Yeah, no, I'd never seen it, so I just was like,
but they're not severely bent like the RC ones. Let's put it that way. Like there's like a little bit of a bend up and then to the, to the belly pan versus like some of these that we see, you're doing like almost like a 22.5-degree bend and then it goes to the belly pan. It's a little extreme.
Yeah, like I think if you're doing trailing and stuff, if you want them cool, but they're not gonna do you a whole lot of good, maybe on some roots or some rocks and stuff. I don't know. I mean, really, the only reason to go to them is clearance. I mean, that's really the only reason why. And I personally, I don't like them on everything. Like, I've got them on like my comp truck, but I'm not gonna put them on like the Scout or something like that.
Yeah. And then he says, perhaps a crawling vocabulary segment similar to the TSR, like word of the week, only crawling specific. Missed you guys. We could do something like that. The only thing is, one, we'd have to put some effort and thought into it, and I think we'd all forget. And two, between the two shows combined, I think that at least with me, sometimes I start a little bit more drama than I tend to with the shows. So the last thing I want to do is get accused of stealing a segment. So yeah, it's as fun as it would be. I think we'd be over it.
Yeah, I can't be trusted to take something like that seriously anyway, so it's best that I just don't even do it.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. So in a way, we're kind of doing you guys a favor.
Yeah.
Nick LaRusso, he says, welcome back. Hope you're all rested. Will Adam be getting a rift?
I would like to. I just don't think it's going to happen as quickly as maybe some people would think. I got money going towards other projects right now, so that money going towards the rift, just don't see it happening right now.
Fair enough.
We're getting one though, so yeah.
Well, I think everyone's like shocked when you guys say you're gonna get a rift because they know that you're,
Yeah, it's just a template. Like it's got panels. I'd be an idiot not to do, to offer stuff for it. It's gonna be pretty popular. So
yeah,
we have to get. I mean, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Whether it'll get driven a lot, that's a different story. It probably won't. It'll probably just sit. Like, I mean, we've had a UMG 6x6 since October, and it's never been driven.
You can send it to me, and I'll drive it for you.
It's just sitting on the shelf above my head, and the bed of it is full of parts that are supposed to go on it and haven't.
Wow.
Yeah. Ian Hansen, he says, what sort of rad plans do you have in the works for the Die Hard Scale RC Park this spring?
Havoc Racing. That'll be one of the new things. That's going to be pretty fun.
It's really the only thing I know of that's been talked about. Also, he's still the only guy seen with the Trail King.
Yeah, I know. Same here. Ian. I like it when Ian pops up every now and then. We need to see more Ian this year.
Come out, Ian.
Yes.
Have fun. This one is from Aiden Burke. He says, I think this one's for me. He says, should Dakota smash Spencer out of the way of the first lap of Q1 at SIC? Well, SIC's already happened at this point. Aiden is the of the Extra Lap RC podcast over in the UK.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, I watched that video a couple times, like right when that had all come out. It was kind of a weird one for me because I kind of looked at it as those two were colliding on the racing line. Like both of them were just committing to cutting the other one. Both of them were converging on the racing line and were expecting the other one to pull out of it. And then neither of them did. And
Yeah,
since
at that point, it's a racing incident, right?
that was kind of my thought. Like, I thought it was kind of dumb by both of them, but like, I mean, in a way, like as much as people hate to hear it, I do kind of think it was incidental contact. I don't know why Spencer came down as much as he did. It wasn't like an aggressive, like Spencer came down and took him out, because like that was such a 50-50 shot of Spencer getting flown off the track instead of Dakota. So people, I mean, honestly, I know people are going to start thinking I have the AE bias because of this, and then the fact that I absolutely tore Brock Champlin a new one on my podcast last week for his departure from them. But I think that it was one of those just weird things where like Dakota got like a crazy amount of drive coming out onto the straightaway, and so he was definitely setting himself up to have that inside pass line for the next turn, and so Spencer was closing that door. And so, yeah, like neither of them wanted to back out. The turn-in didn't look aggressive enough for me to say it was a takeout. I just think that it was kind of one of those things where neither of them wanted to give in, and then unfortunately that's what happened. And like Dakota just got the bad end of it. Like that absolutely could have gone the way with Spencer just flying off the track too. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that one seemed a little bit blown out of proportion, but it's also like this is something that Spencer has a reputation for, and it's AE versus low C and all that stuff. So I mean, there was kind of fuel already there. It didn't happen at SIC, so I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it ends up always being sort of water under the bridge.
I think what people don't understand is how hard it is to actually take somebody out with an RC car without jacking yourself up in the process. Like, I think the odds are like slightly worse even than 50-50 of surviving a takeout that you're going to instigate, because that stuff rarely ends good anyways. So
no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think it was A2 or A3 of two-wheel drive at Walla Walla in 2016. I spent one of my A mains doing nothing but trying to take E-clip out, and I had a really bad time trying to do it.
Oh, it's super commendable of you, though.
I did my best. Yeah, like it just unfortunately I came up short.
Things have been quiet on the E-clip front for a long time now.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I mean, if anybody knows the legend of E-clip, then yeah, I mean,
we'll save that for a future show.
Oh, hopefully never. But hopefully never. A couple of people keep telling me I need to try and bring him onto track walk, but
oh my God,
I can't in good conscience put something like that. Like I can't make that happen.
No, like giving somebody like that a forum to voice.
You can't give someone like that a platform, but also like, I mean, that doesn't help anything. That's just making things worse. And I've been very much an advocate of being anti-E-clip, but yeah, I mean, different time thing, but like,
you tore somebody apart on your podcast, huh?
Oh,
man, people in Scale RC would not be able to handle somebody being
okay.
If we criticize someone on this show, people's minds would explode because you can't, that's just unacceptable.
So, all right, I'll give you the Cliff Notes. The Cliff Notes is that there's a young kid. He's like, I think 18 or 19 now at the absolute oldest. He's a year removed from high school. His name's Brock Champlin. He is a really good, like 10 scale carpet racer, and he's good on clay. I mean, he's good. He's fast at just about everything, right? And he was getting paid by EE. Well, long story short, mid-contract, he goes to Associated, super unhappy, and tries to leverage a raise out of him because he felt that he should have been paid a lot more, and he was unhappy with the situation, and that they didn't use his feedback or anything else. And so with a year left on his contract, he goes to them and goes, here's your opportunity to give me more money. And they said no. and released him. And so he bought himself out of his contract and, made this big old post about everything, about how it was this or that, and calling out AE for this and that and everything else, and thought that, that he was, thought he was worth more than what he was getting, and that he didn't have the support from the team or whatever. It's the support thing. Like, I can understand sometimes people don't get have good fits. But he was talking about this, and it just kind of tore everybody apart. And my whole thing was just I don't know, that's kind of a bold. And the thing about this guy, this is my main point, was to go to do this to a place like Associated, who their number one driver is a 2-time world champion before the age of 21 or 22. And so the bar has been set. You're going to go to them not having won anything, tell them that you're worth more than you think you're getting. And that then you're confused why they say no. Especially when they let a 4-time world. I mean, there's a lot of debate on how this went out, but I mean, there was a 4-time world champion in Ryan Cavallari that AE said sayonara to, and what? I mean, I was like, what was going through your mind at that point? Who gave you the advice to do that? Because that wasn't smart. And so my whole thing was you just number one, if you're going to chase the money in RC, you're doing a bad thing doing it. But two is you haven't done anything to leverage that. I was three, you're 19. And I wasn't trying to get personal or whatever, but I mean the kid drives a black AMG C class, a really nice car for his first car and stuff like that. So I was I honestly I had to kind of take the position of this guy doesn't have a concept of money and its value.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, and so I was just that doesn't paint a good picture this early in your career, as because then what happens next is where do you go? I was why not just finish out your contract and then just go somewhere else, and then you don't have to do any of that?
At what point are people going to see the error in lighting up your former sponsor online? That is such great incentive.
Yeah, that was
other brands to never touch you again, because we don't want to pick this guy up, because if things don't go exactly his way, he's gonna have a public freak out and light us up just like he did, this brand. So at what point are people gonna be yeah, that's a bad idea because nobody's going to touch you?
Yeah, because I read through his post, and then he had another Talk It Up Tuesday on Live RC where he kind of just went deeper into all that conversation. And I looked at that and I was just I just don't see how this reflects poorly on AE. This is just really doing a dent to your market value. And my thing was just if they're not going to listen to your support and stuff like that, there's one thing being unhappy and wanting to go somewhere else, but it's but if look, especially if you're younger, I was just because you're fast, there's a lot of fast drivers. There's a lot of pro drivers who absolutely know nothing about setup. It's it doesn't mean you know anything about the cars. I was so they're not obligated to listen to every bit of feedback that you give, because there's a healthy opportunity that your feedback might be wrong. It was just one of those things where I was unhappy or not, whatever the situation was or not. I was there's it doesn't really matter if you were right. It's just how you handle that situation. That was my whole thing. I'm sure he's a nice enough kid, and by all accounts he is. But the whole post was talking about because there were some rumors about how he had been fired because I guess he's had attitude problems and stuff in the past, and the way he talked about that was super unapologetic. And I was just I mean, that was my whole thing. I was just I'm sure you're nice. I'm sure you're a good kid. I'm sure there's a lot of people that seem to like him, and that's great. I was but I just think this was really dumb. That was my whole thing, because I was just this is what did you expect to happen?
Sounds a lot like that Yokomo squid up here that had the little freak out because they're, they don't listen to him and take his input and advice on how to build RC cars right. And we're talking about a local A-main club racer that's never done shit with his life, and it's he's mad that Pillars and the whole Yokomo development team won't listen to his input.
Yeah,
so the whole thing is just so laughable to begin with. It's okay, it kind of sounds like that. Everybody's got an opinion and some sort of advice or some hot setup they think is really good, but nobody ever asks the question of well, how are you qualified to make this assessment or to advice? That's kind of the big thing that people don't ask, that They really should.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I mean, that was my whole thing, which is like, I'm telling you this as someone like who in all honesty, like I do believe I have pretty decent business sense, and that wasn't a very business conscious move. That
Yeah.
early in your career before you've done, like I say, like you don't have leverage, like.
Yeah, there is no world championship.
Yeah, I mean, chances are he was getting paid more money than he was when Spencer won his first world championship. I don't know that for a fact, but it's probably pretty likely just the way the industry works. That's not an industry where people make a lot of money. Like, it sucks, but it is what it is. Like, like you don't make anything until you win, and that's what you have to do. So yeah, that was my thing. But yeah, I think people might be thinking that, oh, let's say this and that or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's not. That's just the way the cards have been falling lately.
Inflated self-worth, that is just something that is so prevalent with RC everywhere.
The racing culture is pretty bad right now. So
I mean, scales that way too, though. Like I said, everybody's an expert. So.
I think the scale thing, to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't noticed it as much as the scale world. I mean, like I said, I've been on Facebook hiatus, so I guess I don't see it that much now. But like, I haven't been noticed that much in the scale world as much as I just think that there's a lot of people who seem to know a lot about setup suddenly.
Yeah.
When really they like tried one thing and they're like, oh, this is good enough. And so they recommend it to people, which is the thing I don't understand.
Especially when it's like, I mean, you're not asking the right questions. Like, is the terrain similar? Like, is the weight of our truck similar? Like, there's just so many things that factor in that people gloss over because honestly, I don't think they know enough about it to offer a decent explanation. And so it's like you just get these like bullshit answers and product recommendations out of people that have absolutely no business giving them to begin with.
Well, yeah, I think it's also a silent majority thing too, though, because I think there's a lot of people who do actually like not know and know they don't know, and will go and read through those forums for answers. I think, as always, there's always a couple people who, like, no matter what, have to chime in, and then that's the people that we see, and I think that's what kind of creates that problem. I think the racing world is a little bit on a worser step right now, just because of just the way it's just gone and just the way it continues to go. And it's just kind of, I mean, like the whole drag racing thing on top of that. So, I mean, like, I don't know, scale these days, at least from all my accounts, besides everyone being an engineer suddenly is, I mean, in all honesty, it seems like it's gotten a lot mellower, which is cool. That's just my impression. I don't know if you guys have seen any different, but I mean, it seems like it's been overall a happier place.
Yeah, for the most part.
This week.
Like I said as of late, I guess I wouldn't know, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, no, it's just the typical dumb stuff,
Yeah,
everybody's an expert, and men are terrible when it comes to admitting that there might be something they don't know or that aren't an expert on, and so everybody has to kind of like puff their chests out and flex on everybody else with their scale knowledge.
Yeah. The last question we had was from on Instagram at Dad's RC Workbench. He says 3,800 kV motor too much for a crawler. I might get one for my gatekeeper, but worried about breaking parts.
I don't know. I got a 3,100 in mine with a 3-cell, and you will definitely break parts if you don't exercise a little bit of restraint driving with it. A lot of it's going to depend on the electronics he has, but like I know, like with the Tekin stuff with my 31, the way I've got it geared, like it can do everything from crawling to going fast and jumping stuff, and it doesn't have any heat issues or anything. So I kind of found that sweet spot. So I don't know, my gearing may work for you if you're going with a big radical motor like that. I can't promise you anything because we're kind of working off a limited information that you've given us here, but I went with 28 pinion and 78 spur, and that seems to be the happy place with no heat issues with my gatekeeper, and it still can do just about anything you want it to.
Yeah, I'm curious about the terrain because, like, I mean, I'm really happy with the power band you have in yours. So if it's anything like what we drive on, even remotely, or something mellower, like, I think that would be fine.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just controlling yourself, because I will totally admit, like, I have driven that thing like a complete jackass a couple times that I've taken it out, and it's just because it is so ungodly fast and has so much power that like it's really fun because it can do a lot of things that other cars can't. Like, you know, you can have a line and like double something in the middle of your crawling line. Like it's really, really fun. And so it's hard to, you know, act responsibly with that much power.
End of the day, power application is so key. A lot of people miss that.
You'll be fine as long as you exercise some self-control. That's probably the best advice I can give him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it for questions.
So, do we want to talk about our plan here? What we're doing with, because we told everybody about Patreon. So,
yeah, I think so.
Talked about that, saying that people are gonna probably be interested in joining. I'm trying to pull it up right now, actually. Patreon, that Scale RC show. There we go. I'm gonna log in really quick, just make sure I've got the dollar figure right. All right, so I guess I'll explain this since I've got the information sitting in front of me. Our Patreon, we get about $54 a month right now. I think at one point it was as high as 72, I want to say, but currently we're at 54 a month. We've taken money out really, I think. I mean, I quit taking money out a while ago to cover our subscription fee and stuff, you know, for Podbean. But what we did, like, give you some money for your microphone, Adam. I think that was really about all we've done with our Patreon.
Yep.
Okay, so our current balance is $459. I'm not sure what they're going to take out of it when we withdraw it, but what we decided with the way that our current climate, you know, the current situation that everybody's dealing with in the country right now, as far as like travel and COVID and everything, that chances are it's going to be a little bit before Adam gets up here, because if you've been following the show, we've been kind of just rat holing money away to pay for a plane ticket and stuff to get him up here to get some good content and have some fun and laughs. But it's probably not going to happen for a while. So we've decided to take that full balance and we are going to build a truck and we're going to give it away to one of our patrons. So if you're currently a patron, this is like a big thank you for all the support that we've had from you guys, and this is also to encourage people to become patrons, because then we can do more fun stuff like this for you guys later on down the road too. So we decided we're just going to blow all of it and put together something rad that is custom, that each of us, you know, has kind of got some input on and put some effort into. And, you know, it'll be this collaboration between the three of us, and you guys will win a brand new rig. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were gonna say rig. I was gonna start pulling their leg. I was gonna say, yeah, we're just gonna give you a big old Tupperware box. We're gonna put a bunch of our own decals on it, and you get to throw your crawler in it.
Yeah. Then, like, so understand too, like, all you have to do to participate in this is just be a patron.
That's there's no entering, there's no reposting and hashtagging and all that stuff. Share. No hoops to jump through. It's just
be a patron and you qualify.
Be a patron and win a build. So we're still working out all the details and stuff.
We have no idea how long it's going to take because of just the nature of the way us three are right now, with, you know, with how busy we are.
Exactly. We can't promise a date or anything, but this is also something that you don't really want to do fast, you know, like this is something that we want to take our time with, like, you know, go around and do as much little detail stuff as we can and neat little tricks to it and things. And I mean, you know, we want to put a lot of ourselves into this and make something really, really cool for you guys. So
yeah,
that's what we're gonna do. Please forgive us if we can't put a timeline to it, but it'll be worth it though.
I still would say that you'll definitely see it. I want to say before spring's over.
Oh yeah. It's I can't promise like, in the next 2 weeks, you'll be able, like it could be 2 months. Honestly.
It's not going to take us all of 2021, but yeah, we'd love to have it out even before spring, but it's one of those things where I think we're in the early stage of all this, and we still have a lot of stuff to kind of evaluate, I think. So, and then obviously the
like
time
theme. I mean, there's a lot of decisions that need to be made, and you've got, 3 people weighing in their opinion on what should go on it.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff to consider and talk about. Like one of the things was, should we do something where it doesn't have a bunch of our sponsors stuff on it because, I mean, we're not making any shameless like attempts or plugs that way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the best way to handle it is. Like, it would be kind of cool to use brands that we don't typically use, that we're not familiar with, and that people wouldn't expect. Like if we did like Pitbull tires and wheels on the thing, like people wouldn't see that coming, so it's like, do we do that, or do we put as much of our individual sponsors stuff on it as we possibly can, like that. There's a lot of little things like that we need to kind of figure out what we want to do.
Lots to talk about, and then on top of that, building it. But yeah, it should be pretty fun. So as we get closer to all that, and I think we'll try and post updates and stuff along the way and everything else, and then when it actually becomes time, we'll get the details ironed out about how you guys are going to find out if you won this thing.
Yeah, we'll make sure that everybody knows exactly like what's going on and everything and when. And really, like, unless you aren't a patron, or like you end your subscription or pledging, however you want to call it, really, I mean, there's not a single thing for you to do in the meantime. So
yep, just wait and hang tight.
Yep. So yeah, we just wanted to let you guys know that that's something that we're gonna be doing here, and just a little thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sick.
Yep. So yeah.
I think we're probably okay to wrap up. We're about an hour 46 in. So
yeah,
if you guys are good to call tonight, then we can get on out of here.
Sounds good to me. I got a whole bunch of stuff sitting here that needs to be done as soon as I get off of here. So
yeah, I gotta throw this show together. So
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So
it's all good. All righty.
Cool, guys. Well, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, good first show back, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. See you next week.